Many times we read in scriptures about lazy people. We read about the slothful man, we read about the diligent man. And many times we think that the lazy people are just certain people who wake up in the afternoon and they're just lazy around, they're scrolling on their phone, they're watching Netflix, and they're not doing anything. But I'm sorry, today you may fall in the category of lazy people from the scripture that we're looking at. I've heard many people talk about many scriptures about lazy people, but I've hardly heard anybody talk about Proverbs chapter 12, verse 27. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 27. It says, "The slothful man roasteth not that which he took in hunting, but the substance of a diligent man is precious." The slothful man does not roast that which he took in hunting. So you begin to think, is this guy really slothful? Because he went out to hunt. And if you have ever gone hunting before, you know that hunting is not easy. You take your rifle, you take your bow and arrow, you take your spear, and then you go out into you have to be patient. It will test your grit, it will test your strength, it will test your patience, it will test everything in you if you go out to hunt. So you can't really call somebody who went out to hunt slothful. But the Bible is here saying that a slothful man goes out to hunt, but he does not roast what he went out to hunt. So imagine somebody is hungry, went to go and hunt, got the antelope, whatever animal, bushmeat, whatever, got it, came back, and he sat down and was looking at the bushmeat. The bushmeat was looking at him. And he did not roast it until the bushmeat started to spoil, and he was still hungry. Putting it in our modern terms, or in what we say today, really what that is some people, they go and take an online course. You go and take the online course to learn something, then take the certificate and you don't use it. You go and learn something with somebody, you may not even get a certificate, but you just go and learn it. You take it and you don't use it. You are part of, some people will go to university, go to school, do 4 years, come out of it, and when they come out, they don't use it. And I'm not even talking about certificates. I don't really like certificates. I'm not a fan of certificates. I'm a fan of knowledge, education. I'm not talking about using it. I'm talking about using the knowledge, using the education. Some people will go and meet people. They will go to a certain, will dress up. They will even spend money on whatever perfume and all that, get to the event, and when they get there, ladies and gentlemen, they will meet people, but they will never use whatever connections they make at that event. I'm sorry, but if you are such a person, you are slothful. If you have gone out to go and gain knowledge, maybe you went to go and take an online course, you learned something, you learned digital marketing, you finished digital marketing, you never used it, I'm sorry to say, but you are slothful. You went to learn videography, editing, for example. You learn it, you come back, and you never use it. You are not using it to make money. I'm sorry to say, you are slothful. You went out to hunt. You got the material that you needed to put food on your table, and you did not use it. You did not roast the meat that you went to get. The Bible says that you are slothful. You went out, you met this particular person. Let's say you met Elon Musk. You met Elon Musk. You met him, sat down at a table with him, you had dinner with him, and you guys had a very good conversation, even gave you his personal number. But after that day, all you do with it is to say, I met Elon Musk, I sat down at a table with him, and we had dinner. He said I was very smart. And you never use that connection after that time. You are slothful. All those times that you meet people, and after meeting them, you never call them back to say, sir, this is what I think that you can do, we can do together. This is how I think that we can. It's just, you went out to hunt. After getting what you needed, you came back and you never used it. So what's the point of going out to hunt? What's the point? Another thing that many people do is their followers on Instagram, their followers on Facebook. You have all these followers. You were somehow able to gather this attention to yourself, and you have never been able to roast those followers and turn them into customers to buy something from you. I'm sorry to say, but the Bible says that you are slothful. This number of people are around you. They are around you. They know you, you know them. But you have never been able to find how to turn them into customers. I'm sorry if today is harsh. I'm sorry if today is harsh. But I'm not the one. It's the Bible that is saying it, that you're slothful. It's the Bible that is saying it, that you're slothful. You have family members. So there are 4 particular things, because what you're doing when you're hunting is you're going to get leverage. This is, everybody is hungry, but you now have an animal which is a leverage for you, a step ahead for you to become, to eat, to get food to eat, to solve your hunger problem. So you're going to get leverage. You meet somebody, that's leverage. You have this particular number of followers, that's leverage. There are 4 particular kinds of leverages that many people don't use or don't know how to use. I will reveal those 4 leverages to you, and after revealing those 4 leverages to you, we'll go into, I don't know if we have enough time, but we'll probably go into how you can use the leverages. All right. There are 4 leverages. I call them the 4 C's. 4 C's of leverage. Number 1 is connections. Number 2 is capital. Number 4 is code. These things are serious leverages that you can use to soar high in life. Serious leverages. Now, the first one, which is connections, I've talked a little bit about that. In your connections, who are your family and friends? Family and friends. Your old schoolmates. Old schoolmates. Those that live in your neighborhood. Those that attend your church. And whatever other club or association that you're a part of. You must be able to make customers out of these people. Now, you may not make customers out of all of them, but you have to establish a way to make customers out of them. The first thing is there something that you can even sell to them? Is there something that they can even do with you that you guys can use to make money together? The person may not even be a customer. The person may be a partner. That, oh, this person is doing this thing. How can I partner with this person? See, whenever I meet somebody like that, the next thing that's always in my head is, first thing I'm always thinking is, how can I make this person more money? How can I help this person to make more money? And I know that as I'm thinking of how can I help this person to make more money, what is automatically going to happen is that I will be involved in that person making more money, and I also make more money. That's one way in which I use my connections. One way in which I use my connections. So what you should be thinking about is, I have all these connections. I've gone to hunt. I've gathered all these meats, so to say. They are human beings, they're not meats, but let's just say, I've gone to hunt, I've gathered all these meats. How do I roast it and make it into food? And if you cannot roast it, you're slothful. If you cannot sit down and think, okay, I know this particular person, and you're not thinking of, I know this person, I want to call him and say, come and help me, come and give me money, I want to use to start business or something. It won't work that way. What you should be thinking of, I know this particular person, how can I be of value to this person, so valuable to this person that this person will bring money to my pocket, because money follows value. How can I be so valuable to this person that this person will not bring money to my, either he pays me by himself, or we are both making money and then I make money too with it. You have to learn, find a way to roast them. So right now, begin to think, and you can write it down. Who are your family and friends? Who are your old schoolmates? Your WhatsApp group for your old schoolmates? Who are the people that live in your neighborhood? Who are the people that attend the same church as you? And how can you roast them? Roast them in a good way now. How can you roast them to make money out of them. This is something that you have to sit down and really think about. The second one is capital. Now, many people always say, I've heard it too many times, I don't have capital, I don't have capital, I don't have capital. That's absolutely untrue. Absolutely untrue. Every single person has one capital or the other. And how do I know? That woman went to meet Elisha in 2 Kings 4. Went to meet Elisha and said, I have nothing. Your son, the son of the prophet, he died and he left me in debt. Now the debtors want to come and take my 2 children. Help me. I have nothing. Then Elisha now asked you, Madam, you have something. Ask her, Madam, you have something. What do you have? She now said, okay, I have nothing but a cruse of oil. So you see, she had something. But many times we think that we don't have anything. Many times we assume that what we have is nothing, whereas we have enough. There is nobody on this earth that does not have enough for him to get to where he wants to get to. You already have enough. You already have enough. The problem is that you are not seeing 7 billion or 8 billion people in your Adam and Eve. Because Adam and Eve were enough to fill up the whole earth. But when you look at the earth and you see only Adam and Eve, you say, there are not enough people to fill up the earth. Whereas there were enough people to fill up the earth in Adam and Eve. You look at the woman with the cruse of oil, the widow, and you say, there's not enough for her to pay off her debt. Whereas there was enough. The only thing is that she needed to know a secret. She needed to know a formula that she can use to multiply that thing that is already there. So every single person has capital. You may say, that capital is not enough. No, the capital is enough. What you need is a formula to multiply it to the point where it can now be used. But it is enough in itself. It's enough in itself. So, and you see, I'm not saying this out of theory. I'm not saying it as a this is not motivation. I'm not trying to motivate you. I'm saying the absolute truth. Why? Because I did it myself. I started out with 30,000 naira salary. 30,000 naira salary. When I was hoping for 800,000 or even hoping for 350k at least. I started with 30,000 naira salary. And from that 30,000 naira salary, when I discovered the formula, I was able to, in 3 years, become a millionaire. Within 3 years, between 2010 and 2012. By 2012, I just checked, and I didn't even know when I entered millionaire status. I just checked and I realized I was already a millionaire. From 30,000 naira. Now, you may look at me and say, with 30,000 naira salary, it's not enough. The lens that is used right now to record this particular video, not on the stream, there's another recording going on. The lens that is used to record this video is the very first camera equipment I bought. I bought the lens at about 350,000 naira or so. Today, it's worth about 1.5 million because it's still the best. It's f-stop 1.2. It's still the best. But how was I able, if I despised my little 30,000 nairas, I wouldn't have been able to buy 350k. And if I despised the 350k, I wouldn't have had something that is worth up to 1.5 million. So I'm not telling you theory here. I'm telling you real truth, something I've practiced and has worked for me. So what is that formula that will multiply your capital, whatever your capital is? It's in Genesis chapter 41, and I'll display it for you now. I'll display it for you now. In Genesis chapter 41, we have a very unique story. Almost everybody has heard that story of Pharaoh. Pharaoh, had a dream. In his dream, there was the interpretation of the dream, anyways, was that there will be 7 years of plenty, then to be followed by 7 years of famine that will be so terrible, it will seem as if there was never any plenty. And then Joseph's recommendation was, let's take out 20% of whatever we get in the 7 years of plenty, and by the time we enter into the 7 years of famine, we will have more than enough. Now, this did not make sense to me when God showed it to me. Genesis 41, you can go and read it yourself. Read from the beginning till the end. The story majorly starts from around verse 29 thereabout. It didn't make any sense to me because how can you tell me that we bought a bag of rice and we survived on a bag of rice for 1 month in my house? Then, or we bought a bag of rice, We took out 20% of it. We survived on 80% of a bag of rice for 1 month. They are not telling me that for the next month is the 20% that we took out that we will survive on. It doesn't make sense. So when God was showing me this thing, I was saying that was the formula or the key to my next level. I told him, God, I don't understand this thing. It's not making any sense. How can you say 20% will be enough to do what 80% did? I know maths. I know maths. And the maths was not mathsing. So I now said, worse still. I don't know whether it's worse still or better still. I don't know. But then, it's not, 20% didn't just do what 80% did. It did more. Because people were coming from other countries to Egypt to come and eat, to come and buy food. So how did 20% do that? And then God said that it's because of my limited mindset. I was assuming that Joseph was taking 20% and he was putting it in a warehouse and locking the warehouse up. So he asked me a question. He said, if you lock corn, millet, yam up in a warehouse for 7 years, will you meet it the same way? I said no. It would have, in Yoruba we say boo. It would have boo. What's it in English? It will be rotten. No, rotten is not really the word. Mold would have gathered on it, you know. So he told me that it was because I was assuming that he kept it in a warehouse, and if he kept it in a warehouse, there's no way he would have gotten the same quantity of food. If he did not boo, if he did not boo or develop mold, rodents, animals would have found it. Rats have a way of entering any place. It doesn't matter how secure that place is. Put SSS, put the entire army to secure a particular place. Rats will find a way in. So rats would have gone in and they would have eaten it up. So he told me, he said, Joseph did not take it and store it. Joseph established a particular thing. He took 20% and he reinvested it. In other words, he planted it. And as he planted it, it was multiplying every single year for those 7 years. I'll display it to you now. Okay, so we're in Egypt. This is how you can leverage your capital, because some people say my salary is not enough. They say my salary is not enough. And so they are not roasting the salary that they are getting every month. They are not roasting that. Is it clear? You can see it? Good. So we're in Egypt now. Tell me what limit I have. If I'm getting beyond that limit, I should move the table. Okay. We're good now? Okay. So we're in the 7 years of plenty now. Is your focus okay? Yes. We're in the 7 years of plenty in Egypt. So let's assume that every year they were making or harvesting $500 worth of food. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Year 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Year 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Year 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Year 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Year 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Year 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Year 7. Right? So these are 7 years of plenty. Okay? Now, he took out 20%, and like I already explained, he did not store it in a warehouse. There's a big problem I've seen underneath the sun. Very big problem. Where somebody saves money from January to December, then in December spends it all on dirty December. Then starts January again, poor. So every year it will be rich, poor. It will be rich. At the end of the year, it will become poor. Starts the new year poor, actually poorer. because January, they say January is the longest month of the of the year because he still has to take care of expenses in January. So it's poorer in January and then like that. So it is wrong to save money and to spend it. You don't save money to buy a TV. You don't save money to buy things that don't make more money for you. Savings must always be equal to investment. Every kobo you save, you must invest. You don't save money to buy a shoebi. Even if the entire family will be there, you will be embarrassed. Go there and look and be embarrassed. Don't worry. Let them give you 3 years. Your life will change. And that embarrassment that happened because you didn't have money for a shoebi, they will be the ones now that will be embarrassed when they're in front of you. Because the clothes that you'll be wearing, the cars that you'll be driving, the properties that you have, maybe they will come and rent your properties. Just let them give you 3 years. You never save money to buy a shoebi. You don't save money to do parties. You don't save money to do any of these things. Okay? So it took 20%. It took 20% and he planted it. If you plant 1 corn, you get how many in return? You get plenty. You can't even count it, but you get plenty. But let's be modest. All right? Let's be modest. And let's assume that you plant 1 battery. Is it dead? Okay, so I'll continue on this.